Waking Up Singapore.
Gotta get up.
The Big Show on Kiss 92.
Gotta get up.
Good morning. It is the Big Show on Kiss 92. You've got Angel, Daphne Koo, as well as the Flying Dutchman. We're with you this Tuesday morning along with Dr. Geraldine Tan because it is Therapy Tuesday, and Dr. Geraldine Tan is, of course, our award-winning psychologist that joins us every Tuesday from the therapy room. Good morning, Dr. Jerry.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Jerry. This morning, Jerry, we are talking about spotting the signs of abuse. I take it this is because of what's been happening in preschools.
I mean, it's been the talk of the town lately, right? And a lot of parents have been quite worried. Teachers, even preschool teachers, are also quite they are worried. They are feeling quite jaded. They have been asked many questions. I think principals also of different schools, have been bombarded by many, many different questions. So I thought I'll pick it up today.
Okay.
So,
what types of abuse are there? How do we recognize what is abuse?
Yeah, so what we see in the papers recently and what we view in the videos are more we saw the physical abuse, we saw some verbal abuse, but there are more than that. So there's the sexual abuse. And
that's the word.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they're
you
all bad,
see-
but
They're all bad. They're all bad. So there's the sexual abuse, the emotional and mental abuse. So where one can be very manipulative, gaslighting. They tell you one thing and then they tell you, no, I didn't say that, or you're the one that wanted it. So they manipulate you to doubt yourself and to believe what they say when the truth could be far, far, far from it.
So for things like that, I mean, for physical abuse and even sexual abuse, outrightly you can probably see physical effects on the person, right? I mean, most of the time. But when it comes to manipulation, when it comes to psychological, and maybe even some sexual and verbal abuse, it may not outrightly show on the person's being. So how do you spot the signs of abuse, whatever type of abuse it may be?
Yeah, so here I want to, so if you know someone that has been abused or if your child has been abused, these are just signs and symptoms that, we've put together, the different experts have put together, but sometimes it's not overt. So I'm very, very cautious because parents, when they listen to all these signs and symptoms, they start to blame themselves, especially if abuse has already happened. So I want to put it out there, parents who are listening in and not to feel guilty, but, these are the signs to look out for. So the more overt ones that we can see would be like, Angel, what you say, the ones on their skin where they have bruises, where it is painful to the touch. But when they start refusing to go to school, so school refusal is one big sign. They start to feel they change. They have this sudden change, and one day they like to go to school, and then suddenly you realize they start to fear going to school. They start to procrastinate. They don't want to put on their uniform. Sometimes when they go to school, they avoid certain teachers. So when we think, oh, this is your teacher, why don't you greet your teacher? And they start to hide, they start to run away. Maybe it's an indicator, maybe, okay? Or they become very compliant, overly compliant, as in they flop. So the second you hand them over, the hand to hand, they are melted. They are like, okay, I'll just follow you.
Okay. All right. Let's continue this conversation on the Big Show TV. And if you want to join us, you can join us on our YouTube and our Facebook channels. It is Kiss 92 FM. Right now, it's Tomorrow Together featuring Jonas Brothers with Do It Like That.
that's how I say it.
Is
It's tomorrow together, right? Tomorrow by together. Or
That's right. Yeah,
then,
tomorrow by
sorry.
together. Yeah,
Tomorrow by together.
or TXT, right? Or TXT. Okay.
Okay,
All
now we know.
Now we know how to pronounce
I'm
band
sorry.
names. Okay, Dr. Geraldine Tan. Yes. Sorry, you can continue the conversation.
Yes, we were looking at the different signs, right?
Yes.
Change in emotions, or change in behavior, change in their emotions. For example, they become a little bit more agitated. They are more irritable. They are more aggressive. They start, especially the younger
Like
ones,
lashing
they
out?
start to bite.
Oh.
Younger ones, they start to bite.
Just as
they
a
can start
defense.
biting themselves.
Oh, themselves.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes they bite. Or they bite someone else. So they do. Sometimes they return to sucking their thumb. Bedwetting is also very common. Nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night. So these would be some signs that the parents can look out for. Yeah. Rocking behavior because they need to self-soothe. And it's not a sign of autism. It could be them trying to soothe themselves because the situation is too overwhelming for them.
Jerry, something just dawned on my hair stood. You talked about biting yourself. Do you know that when my family split up, I was 15 years old? And at that point, whenever I got frustrated, that's exactly what I would do.
You bit your.
I would bite myself.
But
Yeah.
so
As
the
a
younger
teenager.
ones tend to bite their hands. The teens tend to bite.
Bite your arm.
So is that
yeah.
was that a sign of FD being abused, or is biting also a sign of something else?
She said it means overwhelmed. You're like overwhelmed.
Okay.
So I just basically
Yeah.
couldn't handle that
The
situation.
change.
So it could be, I'm not sure, FD feeling a little bit anxious about the situation, abandoned perhaps.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, my
Feeling
hair
of
stood.
everything.
Wow. It like triggered something in you, huh?
Woo.
Yeah.
But you don't do it anymore. You're
No.
good.
No.
You're in a safe
You're
space.
Wow.
safe, you're safe, and you're very loved.
Someone says don't need therapy. You spoiled them, Dr. Jerry, I think. Wow.
But
So
I
actually-
think I'm very blessed to have everyone on Tuesday. I think we are all doing therapy on Tuesday.
Yes, we are.
This session is very therapeutic for me. It always is.
So, Dr. Jerry, FD mentioned about him being 15 years old, and they moved and
Yeah.
whatnot,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
a long, long, long time ago. So,
Yeah.
when it comes to abuse victims, what are the long-term effects? I'm not saying FD was abused, but what are the long-term effects on the victims?
It could be like educational difficulties. That means they have difficulty focusing, difficulty studying, because the attention is simply just not there. Self-esteem, confidence in themselves, in their abilities. Self-esteem meaning they cannot trust themselves.
Trust issues.
Yeah. Yes, they can't. And depression, anxiety, especially for those that are abused, right? They have difficulty forming relationships. So interpersonal relationships are really, really bad. Yeah, so you can see that, especially if a child is abused at home, then it may impact his or her relationship in the future with a long-term committed partner.
Yeah, so a great question that FD actually posed to me, and a question that I have too, especially, I feel like all of us grow up with a bit of trauma and a little bit of abuse, whether we know it or not, or recognize it. But do you think that people that do get abused have a tendency to become abusers later on, or is there a way to break that chain?
Yeah, so they may not, so they not all of them do. So it's just like someone asking if the bully will be, the victim of bullying will become the bully. It doesn't always happen, because sometimes they do become the bully or the perpetrator in order to overcompensate. I want to take revenge. I want to show you that I can be better. I am in power. Now you cannot do it to me. But the opposite can happen. My life is like that. I am doomed for life. I am everybody's victim. People just make use of me. So sometimes, for example, those that are sexually assaulted or sexually abused, they go on to become very promiscuous, because that's the way they think their life should be like.
Okay, let's go back on air, and I want to ask you about abusers becoming, or the abused becoming abusers, as opposed to what we mentioned earlier.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Yeah, we are having the usual delays across the expressways, yeah? This is because we have a lot of cars on the expressways this morning. On the PIE towards Changi, we're having an obstacle on the road. This is after the Jalan Anak Bukit area. Avoid lane 1. Just look out for that. PIE towards Changi, we have an accident after Thompson Road. Somebody wasn't using his eyeballs. On the SLE towards the CTE, a vehicle's broken down. This is after the Mandai exit, yes. And another obstacle on the road at the BKE towards the PIE. This is before the Woodlands Avenue 3 entrance. That's it for the traffic, yeah?
Thank goodness.
You keep quiet.
Oh my gosh.
Just far away from the mic. But I think we needed that. This today's topic is pretty intense.
It is. It is. Good morning again to Dr. Jerry, and Dr. Jerry is, of course, from the therapy room, and we're talking about abuse.
Just before we get to Angel's question, we want to refer to something on our Facebook. Benjamin says, if FD bites himself now, his dentures will fall out.
Oh my God.
Benjamin.
All the
Benjamin,
comments,
I just want to state publicly, my dentures are permanent, cannot fall out.
It's called real teeth.
Wait, are they? Yeah, then they're not called
No,
dentures.
they're dentures. They're just permanent.
Okay.
Oh, that was too much information right there.
Sorry.
Okay. So, Dr. Jerry, earlier you were talking about different spotting signs of abuse, and earlier you were talking about how abused victims don't necessarily grow up to become abusers. But what I want to ask is, are all abusers victims of abuse? Because every time I see someone like a grown up or someone older who abuses someone else, I always think to myself, this person must have been abused as a child, and this is what they're trying to make up for, or this is the only way that they know how things work. Is that true, that all abusers are abuse victims?
It would be quite a sweeping statement. I think this is a question that many people ask also, were they abused themselves? But not all abused abuser, may have a history that led them to abuse.
Okay.
There could be some of them, but there are some that are perhaps undiagnosed with clinical disorders. Sometimes they have impulsive disorder. Sometimes they have a personality disorder that is undiagnosed. Oppositional defiant disorder. They can be socially deviant. And therefore, they carry out the actions without thought of consequences. There are times that even, let's say, those that are a bit more intellectually disabled and they are not given boundaries may end up end up engaging in behavior that is abusive because they don't recognize it as abusive.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
We actually have a really interesting comment that just came in on Facebook. This is MK Liao. He said, my kid just cries every morning when preparing for preschool, won't even wear the uniform, but at noontime when he's doing pickup, he's totally fine playing around with friends. Is it just that he's trying to try his luck to skip school, or is something going on?
So it's various factors, right? We cannot conclude by just the statement there like that, right? But we probably have to ask the teachers, how is the child in school? What has been done in school, especially if it's a toddler that cannot express themselves. It could be also separation anxiety. And some children do have that for the longest time. But when they feel safe, they are comfortable in school, they are able to function. So it could be various factors and not just, something is happening in school.
I just want to, I want to say, MK Liao, this has got nothing to do with you, but it's something that dawned on me. We see it in adults. Does it happen in children where the abused become dependent on the abuser?
Oh,
They feel like that's a norm.
No, okay. All right. Okay. That's an interesting one. Let's go back on the Big Show TV and speak more about that. The time right now is 8:15.
Kiss 92 time check brought to you by Pooh.
So that was a good question.
That's a great
so,
question.
So, Jerry, just to repeat so everybody understands, we see it
Yes.
in adults, but when it comes to children, can the abused become dependent on the abuser?
For children, unfortunately, so for adults, we still fight back. For the children, they don't fight back. Because if you see, the perpetrators are usually people that are supposed to care for them, supposed to keep them safe, supposed to love them. So it could be parents. In the cases that we have read was teachers, where teachers are secondary parents. So these adults are supposed to keep them safe. So the child doesn't know any better. The child doesn't know that he or she can run away. So there is no talk of dependency in their mind. They don't think of, can I depend on this person or not? They are dependent on that person. So that's the saddest thing for children. And they have no choice. They really feel that they have no choice but to go into that space. And that's why parents feel very, very guilty, because they are the ones that hand the children to this perpetrator. And what does that indicate for the child? The child, feels that, oh, my parents are sending me into this hellhole, into this space. And they don't realize that the parents don't know what is happening.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's a very scary situation.
with all that said, Dr. Jerry, what can we do as bystanders? Because I mean, the parents are, for the most part, well, not the most part, bystanders after handing the children over to the schools, right?
Correct.
Because they've handed over them to another caregiver. So what can parents do, or caregivers do, or in terms of something like that, in situations like that?
So before the child even goes to school, we encourage the parents to teach them about what the teacher, what people can do to you. So it is not just good touch, bad touch, but it is also where your body is sacred. Yeah, so the concept of good touch and bad touch, so it would prevent people from touching them in a sexual manner or even hitting them. So that's why we teach them that nobody can hit you, and that your body is precious and people need to respect that. So that's for the parents. And when they go in, so the children, they are encouraged to tell us. Of course, the tiny ones is a little bit more difficult. They may not be able to share with us just because they don't have the vocabulary. So I will always encourage parents to check their children. So when you bathe your children, the tiny ones, right? When you bathe your children, just to check that that their skin is not bruised and not split open, and you do wash their private parts. If they start to flinch away, or they say it's an owie there, or just pay attention, bring them to the doctor.
Seriously, what a bunch of a-holes, huh? People that do that. I mean,
Okay.
No, like really, like I mean, you're given children to look after.
Yeah.
And you're trusted to keep them safe and and treat them as your own to a certain extent, and then you go ahead and do crap like that. It's just
It's strange, but if we could, let's address the elephant in the room.
Which is
Some parents cane their children. Some parents smack their children. When does
Yes.
discipline become abuse?
When there's no control, when there is. So when we discipline someone, the disciplinarian has control, as in they are able to rationalize with the child that these are the areas that you're at fault, and this is the punishment for these issues that you have, or for these misbehaviors. But when you're abusing someone, there is no control. You're just lashing out.
For
You're
no
just trying
reason.
to get rid of your emotion. That means the perpetrator is just trying to get rid of their emotions and lashing it out onto another person. And that is not right.
okay. So we've spoken
Too
about
heavy, right?
No. It's very enlightening.
I think it's heavy because there are individuals that cannot particularly help themselves to defend themselves,
Yeah.
especially children, and that's why it makes it a little bit more difficult. So, what as victims? I know some of these kids are super tiny. What as victims can be done if they face something? If they face a situation where they're abused?
So I would always say, have the talk to the children. Talk to your children, and have the children come to you for everything. And we can only do it retrospectively, but the children, they are encouraged to avoid the perpetrator. That means run from danger. Yeah, so the children understand run. The children understand danger. So run from danger. Yeah, so if you keep seeing your child run from danger, and you've taught the child pain, you've taught the child danger, and this kid is telling you danger, danger, danger,
Pay attention.
Yeah. Pay attention. I will also encourage a lot of play for children. Now, these days, children are on the devices all the time. But for the younger ones, I really, really encourage them to have many, many different toys. Now, when they come for therapy, we cannot talk to them, right? Because sometimes they don't share with us. So what do? We do art therapy, we do play therapy. And in play, you literally can see them express themselves. So play for a younger child, when they are abused, they tend to be very aggressive. They can be very aggressive. So you start punching the toy, or they make the toy fight really, really violently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one of the kids that we were playing sword fighting. I don't know how to sword fight, but this kid was making all the sounds in the room.
Okay, let's go back on air, and then that will be our last talk set.
Kiss 92 traffic.
The SLE towards the BKE, a vehicle broken down after Woodlands Avenue 2. KJE towards the PIE, a vehicle broken down before the PIE Changi exit. PIE towards Changi, an obstacle on the road after Jalan Anak Bukit. Avoid lane 1. So that's going to slow you down a wee bit. SLE towards the CTE, vehicle broken down before Mandai Avenue. BKE towards the PIE, an obstacle on the road before Woodlands Avenue 3. Look out for those areas, please. Stay within the speed limit. Have everyone buckled up. Be safe as you drive today.
What happened to Wolfgang giving us the traffic
Yeah,
news?
what happened to the Frenchman?
No, the German.
Oh, sorry.
These guys don't have work permits. And
You're listening to The Big Show with Angel, Daphne, and the Flying Dutchman. Coming on in a little bit, we have Lee Nian Zhou, our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times. He'll be joining us and talking about the Formula One and the whole mess that's going to happen with the road closures. But for now, we have Dr. Geraldine Tan speaking of abuse and signs of abuse and how we can spot them. And earlier on The Big Show TV, we were talking about what victims can do to tell us that they're being victimized or abused, because some of these children are super tiny. They could be toddlers as well. So what can we do to teach our children to tell us that something's going on?
You were actually talking about play therapy, and I think that's definitely worth reiterating.
Right. Okay, so for Angel's question first, right? So as parents, we teach them, about their body, about respecting their body, about other people respecting their body. We teach them good touch, bad touch. Where can we touch? Where can someone touch you? Where they shouldn't touch you? And how to push them away, or how to indicate that it's wrong, it's bad. So that's something parents can do. So hitting is included in there also. No one is supposed to hit your body. It's respecting the other person. So for the abused children, or for the abused children that come in, we do play therapy or art therapy, usually play therapy, and we see their play being very violent, and sometimes they need to express it and how they resolve it. So we do it and process it in sessions also, or how do they articulate it. So we start to put words for them, or help them to find the correct words for their abuse, or the abuse process, so that they can then pack it away and start to recover. And sometimes it's very interesting. There was a little girl, really, really little, I think about 4 years old, many years ago. It was just coincidental that I found out she was sexually abused, because because she was very withdrawn, very quiet, so I was just playing with her, and she was very engaged with my play. But my male colleague had to look for me for something. He opened the door. We were on the floor, and when he opened the door, she sat and she leaned back with her legs splayed out.
Oh no!
No!
Yeah. So can you imagine, both of us were bent forward, playing with things, legs crossed, and then when he opened, her stance moved completely, and my colleague and I were staring at her and looking up, looking at each other, going, "Oh my God, what did we just see? What is this all about?" Yeah. So we found out the reason why she wasn't talking. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I guess for parents, if you are worried, and you're not sure, just bring them to a counselor, a psychologist, and have the counselor or psychologist just clear your child of anything, because that was really lucky. We were just really, really lucky.
That
and
she
very
showed a
coincident-
sign straight away.
Yeah, because had my male colleague not come in,
You would never have seen it.
he wouldn't have found out. Yeah.
I don't know how you do what you do, Dr. Jerry. Seriously. Kudos and hats off to you. We've run out of time. We have to welcome Nian Zhou on the show. So are there any final words or any final things that you can have us do or let us know?
a little exercise for everyone.
Okay.
Just asking each other, how are you? So, people in your life, just checking in with them, just asking one simple question. You might find out more than you want to find out, so be prepared. But this is an author that I love his book. He was abused, Dave Pelzer. So if anyone knows the book, A Child Called It. So he was abused, and he has 3 books to his, I think 3 books. And he says in another book that he had, A Man Named Dave, when we forgive, we free ourselves from the bitter ties that bind us to the one who hurt us.
Wow.
Forgiveness, yeah.
My hair standing. Yeah.
On that joyful note, Dr. Jerry, thank you so much for today.
We have to talk about these things, you know?
Of course.
And I'm
Yeah,
so glad that
absolutely.
we have you too.
And this is not the worst that we've spoken of, but this is considered light. But thank you very much, Dr. Jerry. We'll see you
No
again next
worries.
week.
I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, Jerry.
All right, join us on The Big Show TV, and we'll be speaking to Linian Zhou, our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times, talking about all things Formula One. Join us there. Here's Major Lazer and DJ Snake with Lean On Kiss 92.
Just Mo.
No, I was going to say featuring who? Okay. Good morning, Nian Zhou. It feels like forever since we've seen you. Where have you been? What have you been up to? Besides closing all the roads for the Formula One? You have nothing to do with that?
Nothing to do with that. Staying away. Random stuff.
Okay.
School holidays.
Of course. Yes.
Did you go away?
No.
Gotta be a father, right?
No.
Yeah. In defense, no. In defense, no.
In defense.
In self-praise, because I had to mend the fort at home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Wait, so they went away. You didn't go away. Nobody went away.
Your
so
wife went away.
I didn't say that, but yeah.
Yeah.
But you see,
I like how he says she went
No,
away.
but you see, this is a smart woman.
No, it was work, to be fair.
Okay.
Still a smart
we do need the
woman.
bacon at home.
She's the one pulling all the weight, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah, she's listening as well right
Yes.
now. Yes. Okay.
Have a good day.
And thank you. That was Lina and Joe, senior transport correspondent.
If you need me, I'll be at the couch.
Okay, so Formula One. Speaking
Yes.
of couches, a lot of people will be staying in, obviously, because of the mess that will be descending upon Singapore starting
On
tomorrow.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Starting
Yeah,
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Actually, tonight, midnight. So
okay.
it's tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. So the whole, what areas, you cannot drive anywhere,
It's like
basically.
the Civic District, isn't it? Pretty much.
Kind of is, but I think I was just thinking about this topic is why are we thinking it's going to be chaotic as a question, because we've been doing this for a few years now.
15, 16 years.
Yeah.
Just
In
about that.
between, we might have forgotten because of COVID and
Pandemic.
everything.
Yeah.
We were all at home anyway.
Yeah.
So I think on one part is that I've always been quite interested in how they manage these things.
Yeah.
So they always have road closures and all that. They tell you way in advance, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because you and I just forget.
Yeah, you just follow the signs
And then
when you
after
get on
that,
the
just
road.
yell and get
Like,
frustrated.
how do you forget? I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
it's done. We've done it for so long.
Yes.
It's done so much in advance. You see the
warning
the guards
reminders
all
and
going
yes,
up.
that's right,
Everything
yeah.
going up. Maybe in August or even July, they
Yes.
start going out way
Yep.
before National Day.
Correct.
They tell you to take public transport,
Yeah.
but sometimes people think public transport is also grab share because my goodness, don't have cars go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a mess to get in there. Just take the train.
I think exactly on that point is that if you happen to work in that area, right, you would know the
How to
inconvenience,
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, I have to say, I was stuck at a restaurant till 2 a.m.
Which where in the area where
I
you
think it's like Amoy Street. Amoy
Okay.
Street, which
That's quite
I
far.
took a train. I took a train in because I
Yeah.
knew F1 is going to
Yeah.
be crazy. But then because we were there and I was trying to get a cab from like 11:30, which was mad because it's right after, pretty
right.
much like an
Yeah.
hour and a half after
Yeah.
the
Yes.
whole
Formula
thing.
One, yeah.
People were still out partying, no cabs. So I waited until 2 a.m. The bar mixologist went all the way to almost JB to collect a helmet, came all the way back to send me home. I could not get a car.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of Grab drivers are staying away from the whole area. Even the other day, I was talking to a
You
guy.
can't drive through.
He said, I'm staying home all weekend because it's going to be a waste of time.
Yes.
You know, they're going to get stuck. They're not going to get another passenger. It's a waste of fuel waiting around.
Yep.
So,
But you know, I tend to agree with Nianzhou. We've done this for more than 10 years.
why are we still talking about
Yes.
it?
Why?
Yeah.
And even I refer to it as the chaos that's going to hit the Marina Business District.
Wait, you
Yeah.
also have to remember there are a lot of new expats that have come into Singapore since COVID, and a lot of people that have left during COVID. Like, surely you must know. I know so many expats that were like, I'm done with COVID. I miss my family. I'm leaving.
back.
I'm going
Yeah,
home.
yeah. Heading
And
out.
so then there are a lot of new expats that are here now. And I think because of that, whether they drive or not, it's going to be confusing for them. And all you need are just 5 idiots on the road to ruin the whole highway or system.
But this is Singapore. It's not confusing. The signs are there way ahead
No,
of the
it's-
road that you're getting to as
it's
well.
not confusing. It's frustrating. As a driver, it's frustrating.
I think
drive.
gotta step in here. The frustration, right, is the fact that we really live in a very convenient,
Yes.
smooth
Yes.
flowing way. Anything that's different,
Yeah.
you know, that's like, oh, why is my coffee today? The uncle today just gave me sugar. No,
Yeah.
I ate in kosong, mind you. No, this is like true story.
Yeah.
But I think it's that point of just that slight inconvenience, that kink on the road.
Singaporeans cannot deal with that.
Yeah.
I think not cannot, but it gives us a topic to chat about.
The
Yeah.
Singapore,
Over the coffee with the sugar, right?
Singaporean
without the sugar.
pastime is complaining.
Yes,
So
and queuing.
and
Yeah,
queuing for
so-
no reason.
So on a more I was just thinking along of like, since we are going to be discussing about road closure, is that surely after we have gone through the pandemic, we have a majority of us have some kind of a setup that allows you to work without
home.
physically getting
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a radical concept.
Remotely.
Remote
It's
working
not.
and all that.
It's not radical anymore. But it used
Zoom
to
was
be.
one of the sponsors for F1, by the way.
Oh,
They were
I
all
love
over the
that
track,
photo
right? Yeah.
that has zoom, zoom, zoom. Then someone put like, I love that F1 has captions now. Zoom, 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 zoom.
zoom.
Andy, you
but-
don't get it.
I get
We
it, I
get it,
get
we get
it,
it,
but
we get it.
at
He's a
the end
Teams
of
guy.
the day, I don't know that companies are going to say, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, work from home.
But I think specific to this period,
Maybe this week.
I think they
just
will.
this-
Yeah.
And those
If you
people that
still
are
wanna get
working
work-
within that area.
Yeah, if you work in the
know?
CBD,
Yeah.
it doesn't even make sense to go like.
To go in
Yeah.
to tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, next Monday, next Tuesday.
It doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it doesn't make sense to
No,
the
no, for
companies
sure. And I
that
think
are running there.
I think a lot of them too take public transport. So I feel
Yeah.
like maybe they get
Yeah.
to go home half day or so that they don't have to deal with the traffic at night.
Hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. If you're a company listening out there, you're in the CBD.
this is an appeal.
No, I mean like cut your guys some slack. You know, cut your
because
people
there's
some slack.
also the if you look at the road closure, it's not absolute, right? We have those there are roads that are still operating.
During peak hours.
Yes, in the mornings, at least to get everybody. Well, those who really have no choice to get
Or
in.
the ones that take the grabs and all
Yes.
that. Not
no,
that.
those they always have a certain exemption, even on,
Oh,
on,
right,
on
yes.
the days
The-
itself.
that's right,
there
yeah,
are
for
surcharge and all
taxis
that
and
to
all
kind
that.
of like shall we say like kind of compensate them for the hardship, right?
Yeah.
And on our side, I'll be like, oh no, we're gonna
Pay
hopefully
more.
cut down demand because you're gonna gripe, oh, $8 more, you know,
Yeah.
this, that, and everything. So
Yeah.
you try to moderate on both sides. You know,
Yeah.
get more supply with a surcharge, and also disincentivize by making us pay more.
Okay, well, we're going to go back on. We're going to go on air for the first time, and then we'll speak a little bit more about this. The sole daughter of legendary footballer Fandi Ahmad. That was Iman Fandi with Love Me Little More here on Kiss 92. You're with The Big Show with Angel, Daphne, and the Flying Dutchman. And our second guest for this morning is our senior transport correspondent from the Straits Times, Lee Nian Zhou. And good morning, Nian Zhou. It's been a while since we've seen you.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Finding my way here.
Yeah, you forgot.
Especially this week.
Yeah, my office is downstairs, so I had to find a lift.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my goodness. And
Well-
there are so many lifts in this building, mind you.
Speaking of finding your way, quite a few people who have not experienced the Formula One ever in Singapore are going to be a little confused with all the road closures that are happening this weekend. Tell us a little bit more. And are there any new roads that are going to be closing because There's some
Of the-
construction with the NS. What's it called?
The whole float is
The-
not being
the
used, so
float at Marina
the
Bay.
circuit's changed.
The circuit has changed, yeah.
Different roads being closed.
I don't think strictly speaking, if your whole business is getting in and out of the affected areas, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
The information I think has actually, in terms of telling you where that happens, has been out for about a month now. Or at least
Okay.
the later part of August.
Yes.
But
yes.
for those people that don't read, can you tell them where to avoid or what you would
Stay home.
recommend? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Stay home and watch TV.
Don't even
but-
bother with the roads.
But realistically,
It's
if it
true.
is about for those of us even on public transport, buses, there are some routes have been
Extended or affected, yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
not all stops are operating now.
Yeah.
But you will get there.
Yeah.
In terms of-
Eventually.
not really eventually. The thing is, with enough fear, there will be enough adjustments. For all you know, this might be the best week to get to work.
Yeah,
and
that's
back.
true. That's true. I mean, speaking of getting to work and getting out of that area, train services actually will be extended. Like, for example, City Hall MRT until 12:45 a.m. Over the weekend. Also, operating hours for some bus services serving those MRT stations will also be extended to match the last train services. So I would suggest, I mean, really take public transport. When we say public transport, whether it's buses or trains, try and avoid the on-road cars and stuff like that. Because for me, that's just a crazy thing to even put the drivers through that, because coming out of there, that for them is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
also, in addition to that, I was just thinking now, I mean, as much as I do watch Formula One casually, I don't think there are that many like die-hard petrol hits. Right?
You'd be
But-
surprised. I mean, but we do have a lot of foreigners that descend on Singapore to watch
Exactly.
it.
So one of the draws of one of the magics about the Grand Prix here is the fact that there's a lot of entertainment buzz around it.
Yes, the concerts.
So if you
and
think
everything
about
else,
it,
yeah.
I mean, the people that are streaming in and out across the whole weekend and this period, right? And then, the companies are somehow involved, whether obliquely or not. Everybody is talking up motorsports and what have you. There's a lot of activities, a lot of buzz. I think it's something that we have to recognize that, like it or not, this is what it is.
Yeah, and I love
Right?
it. I mean, it's great to showcase Singapore on a global scale. Have you seen it on TV? How beautiful
Yes,
it looks.
The skyline is amazing.
It looks stunning.
Yeah.
All
and-
those lights and everything.
Yes, and then there's this thing with public transport is not so long ago I was actually visiting the operators and they were showing off their technology in terms of not just getting you from point to point in the stations. It's actually there is a whole lot of science and technology to make sure that you have good crowd management getting in and out of the stations.
Yeah. I mean, it is Singapore. We're not short of like traffic wardens and to make sure that everything will flow smoothly.
And also,
Flow
it helps that
smoothly.
we have the culture of lining up here.
This is true.
So-
This is true. Let's go back on the Big Show TV. Continue this conversation. Here's Nick Jonas right now with Jealous.
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, Daphne brought up a good point. There are a lot of new people in Singapore. There are fresh workers who got jobs in that area, never had to go into that area before. Is there anywhere I can go that will give me a diagram or a listing of what roads are closed
Yes.
from what time to what time? Where do I go?
So first and foremost, you go to Straits Times.
That's what I wanted you to say. Like,
Right.
So there is a link in there that basically takes
Yeah.
you to an interactive map. Right.
Yep.
This is actually provided by the Land Transport Authority, which is My Transport, which is really useful. That you can actually filter if you're driving, for example, and find out is it going to cost me an ERP, for example, which is quite useful. It kind of worked in the sort of a route planner function about it. The other thing that is available is that if you actually are in the area, you would have these information for the people who are affected. They would have sent this out much earlier.
Okay.
So we're really talking, our conversation I think is really about those of us that work in outside of this area that might be thinking, this is the one day when I want to go to Suntec City and do something.
Yeah.
Then
Choose another
Right.
day.
Choose another day.
You could, or you could just, do a little bit of homework. Fundamentally or basically what we have to do is give each other a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's smooth, great, that's a super bonus. But
Yeah.
you're gonna get there somehow. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody's gonna get locked in there and never come out.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
also you can buy everything online now, so
Oh, yeah,
whatever
So-
you need.
We're going to put
But
the
it's-
article up. We're going to, sorry, Nianjo, we'll put the article up on our Facebook page in the comment section so that you can get to that link. Is there a link you're talking about, the LTA link?
I think I would recommend using the
Straits-
app.
Oh.
Oh, the app.
Yeah,
Where,
if
where
you
is
must,
this?
so
Where is
use
this?
the My Transport app.
My Transport
Yeah,
app.
that's
Okay.
the LTA one. We get all the notifications.
Right, I've got that one. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And there's also like a public transport guide as well.
Yes.
The LTA has come out. It's all in the article
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
talking about with
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
road closures and everything else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where are you going to be this weekend? Home.
Yes.
I know. I'm heading out, and I'm already trying to plan how to hobble in heels on the train. It's just like
Oh no.
that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Japan.
Big in Japan.
Yeah.
But Ninjo, so we've got all the information. It's all there in the article.
Yep.
You are not heading down
No.
at all.
No.
I was going to go down. I guess I'm not now.
But I mean, like, if for those of us who have been to these race weekends, because it's been going on for
Yeah.
a while, right?
Yeah.
I think personally, this is more from the enthusiast part of me that I wish I could be down to watch. It's actually the support races and activities around it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
it's
that's
not just,
cool.
It's
like
not
the
just
Porsche Cup and
yes,
everything.
the Carrera
yeah.
Cup is back. Then
Carrera
there's
Cup,
the I think it's called the Thailand Super Cup or something.
Yeah,
like
it's all
that.
the stuff that happens
Yeah,
before.
before.
Yeah.
Like the fringe activities.
Yeah, yeah. The,
The
race, the
support
actual
races,
races before on the tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
okay.
women's Formula One was
I
on
think not
last
this-
year.
not this year, yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let's
Okay.
go back on air for our last set. Nick Jonas with Jealous on Kiss 92. Good morning. It is our transport half of the show, and we're talking to Nianjo from the Straits Times about this weekend's closures for the Formula One.
Yes.
If you guys want, we have put the Straits Times road closure information up on our Facebook page. It's in the comment section. The link is there, so you can go to that and you'll find out what's
Actually, the closures happen tonight. From
Tonight,
midnight.
right? From midnight,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So if you're planning any travel into the area, please check our link on our website. Not on our website, on our Facebook page right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Formula One, we have an envelope to pick right now because we have our final two prizes to give away. One is a pair of Zone 4 walkabout tickets worth $596. Now, those tickets are absolutely sold out. And today, just today, those tickets come with also a pair of ultra exclusive sound deck passes to catch the concerts on the Padang. Okay, wait, hold on, FD, I have to finish first. And our next pair, final pair of tickets is a pair of Pit Grandstand tickets. Those are worth $2,776.
Epic now.
I have to say, you have to log on to the Big Show TV to watch FD try to open these envelopes. He's being incredibly dramatic.
Are we
yes.
ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. Go.
Got it.
Go. Oh.
He went with
Nicely done.
It is envelope E. You know what?
E.
There are only two envelopes left, right?
And I'm not going to tell you what's
Why
in this.
don't we not open it?
Okay, okay.
Don't
So
open
here's
it.
the thing.
Yeah.
In order to win this, you're going to have to identify a clip from a song that we will play. Only when you get through will I open this and tell you what you've won.
So it's one of two. Either the Pit Grandstand tickets or the pair of Zone 4 walkabout tickets with that pair of money cannot buy ultra exclusive sound deck passes.
Today, you don't know what you're going to win.
I mean, I'm a guest, right? I can participate.
No, you can't. All right. Thank you so much, Nianjo. Thanks
you.
for coming on. We'll see you again next week. Coming up, headline news and sports.
The Big Show. Kiss 92.